Hi again folks, and welcome to part 2 of my Duchess of Sutherland eBay non-runner video. So where was I? Yeah, I was thinking about what to do about this worn pin or spindle on this motor. And the more I think about it, the more I like the idea of just grinding it down altogether and drilling a little hole to accept a little bit of nail. I've got a nail here that is just the right diameter for the gear. 2.5 millimeters. So if I drill a 2.5 millimeter hole in there, hopefully I can get it just tight enough so that the nail will go in without having to solder or glue it, but we'll see. And if I can just get that the right length, that will go in and it should be exactly like the good one there. Where's my hacksaw? Where's my hacksaw? There it is. I really do need to tidy up. Right, little bits of metal away. So that's got that off really well actually. Let's just give that a wee file. And there we are. That little spindle is now gone. So what I think I'll do is I shall temporarily put this wheel on, because what I'm going to have to do is get this gear in the right position. So I'll put the big gear on that. So I want to make sure that that is sitting where it should. Okay, I can actually still see exactly where this used to go. So if I put that on there, and what can I use? Where's my blue tack when I need it? A little bit of tape on there, and hopefully should be about right. What I want to do is perfectly centre that and just mark that. I think that'll do it. So I've now got a little mark of where to drill. Always happens. Drill's flat. I hate cordless drills. I'm going to have to get myself a small one with a mains cable. Right, I'll away and charge it up. Okay, we're through. I've got a little bit of nail here, so does it go in? Yes, it does. Okay, I'm going to try some super glue gel on this. Okay, so I'm going to let that set, and then we'll file it down to the right height, and hopefully that'll work. Okay, so there we go. There's my new spindle. I set it with super glue gel, and then I've poured some just normal super glue and let it set. And then I've filed it down to make sure that it's flush with the top of the gear. And hopefully this will work. So let's get everything greased up. Greasing all these spindles and everything. And lots of grease on this new spindle. And that gear on there. We'll try a bit of DC power. This is the gear with the new spindle here. So there we go. I think I have successfully repaired that. But as I say, I think I'll keep an eye out for a cheap replacement motor, because I don't know how long that'll last. You know, a super glued spindle's not ideal. Yeah, right. Okay. Right. I think we can start to put this back together, at least the tender anyway. So there we go. I'll go through there. Okay. Does this go with the wheels on? Yes, it does. I think we've got a result. So what we need to do now is get a wire from there to there. Solder that together, and then we'll put the lead weights back. Okay, so motor and tender more or less done. Let's look at the chassis. You know, this is going to have to collect current from, you know, through these wheels, through the chassis, to the drawbar, to the motor. And to that end, we need to make sure that the axles in this thing are nice and clean and conducting electricity efficiently. Because if they don't, I absolutely guarantee you'll get lumpy running. You know, it's the problem I had with my Flying Scotsman, and I also did it with my Black 5. I never videoed that, but after I did it up, I actually dismantled it and cleaned the axles out, and it made it run an awful lot better. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to dismantle it, clean out the axles, get everything sorted, and reassemble it. And for the drawbar here, I've got a replacement little contact. So I think we'll do that first. We'll get that fixed on. So we'll take this off. Big screw for that. Ah, good. It's got a spring. Right, that's good. That means we get, or should anyway, get pretty good pickup through that. For some reason, somebody removed the original one of these. Let's see if I can get this on. Okay, so I've managed to push this back onto its little, well, I don't know, it's almost like a rivet, but it'll fall off easily. But if you look at how it's supposed to be on this mallard, there's a little brass rod loops through, which I think just holds it in place. So I've got a little bit of brass rod, and we'll see if we can replicate that. Okay, so I've got my brass rod through, and I've bent one end of it, so that'll come down, and we'll hopefully keep that in place if I can bend the other end of this. Snip that. Okay, so I've got the little contact on the drawbar on, with the little brass rod wrapped around. Right, what have we got here? The rest of this thing. Let's get the front bogie off. And we've got this contact for this light. Oh, didn't realise that came off. Oh, I was expecting this to be kind of old school, and I was going to have to pull the wheels, but no, it's one of those. Fantastic. Well, that saves an awful lot of work. I didn't notice that. I thought that was a solid block, but no, it isn't. Excellent. So I don't have to dismantle all the con rods. I mean, they're all a little bit tarnished, but to be honest, I don't mind that because it kind of makes them look a bit more realistic. You know, if they're all nice and shiny, it's not really what you want. Right, okay, so I'm not going to have to worry about getting wheels off and quartering and all that nonsense. We can just pull these out. Can I tell you what will be easier? Let's unclip it from the motion bracket and then we should be able to get these out all together. Come on, like that. Like that. Let's just get some of the rubbish out here. And we'll get some contact cleaner on that. I'll maybe pick a replacement bulb up from somewhere, but I really am not too bothered about that. The paintwork on the cylinders here is a bit iffy, but I'll worry about that later. Right, glad to see that the motion bracket actually clips in and doesn't just sit there. So let's give this a good brush. It's amazing how much dirt gets caught in there, and that's going to interfere with pickup. Alright, okay, let's look at these wheels. At least with the wheels out, we can get everything nice and clean. That's in there, that's in there, that in there. Okay, I think we're back together. Just get some T-cut on these axles. Okay, I'll just give them a quick blast with the contact cleaner. Get all the T-cut off. Okay, so we'll get some power lube in here and pop this back on. These wheels seem okay, so we can pop that back on, which will keep everything in place. And we'll clean these wheels later. Put that down in there. Right, okay, but I would say that's the chassis done. Okay, so we'll have a wee look at the body. The handrails on this side have gone in okay, and I think these handrails, if I just put some super glue in there, that should be fine. So just some super glue on the end of a pin, because I don't want this pouring through the hole and going onto the body on the outside. Okay, I think that's done. Buffer. I'll go and see if I've got a spare buffer somewhere. I would rather these buffers were round. I don't think these are the original buffers. But they'll do the now. But I'll maybe see if I can get some nice buffers for it. Okay, so one other thing I want to do here, you can see where there's been a big chunk taken away to allow the wires through. I don't know why people do that. I've seen a few 0-1 conversions where you see, the wires sticking through the firebox, or, there's plenty of room to go underneath. Use fairly thin wires and you can feed things through underneath. I've done it connecting up a tender with an extra pickup onto the locomotive. You just run the wires underneath the drawbar. You don't have to go straight through. So to fix that, I'm going to use a little bit of milliput. And basically all I'm going to do is fill it in and let it set, and then we'll file it down. It's great stuff, this milliput. It's not the most adhesive stuff in the world, so if you need it to be adhesive, once it's set, bung some super glue on it, just around where it joins whatever you've stuck it onto, and it should be fine. So if I squish this out so it's fairly flat, and then basically squish this in there. like that. And then cut away what we don't need. Can be rough just now because we'll sand it down. Okay, so that looks very unsightly just now, but we'll let that set. It takes a few hours to set, but once it's set, I'll just dribble some super glue in around the edges, especially on the inside there, just to make sure it sticks to the plastic. Let that dry, and then we'll carve it down and give it a wee sand, and then paint it. Okay, so a few hours later, and the milliput is set nice and hard. So now it's just a case of filing this into profile with the body. Okay, so that's patched. All we need to do is give that a wee bit of paint and it'll look fine. That'll do me. Once that's dried, that'll be fine. Okay, so the repair to the locomotive is fine, and I've done a similar repair to the tender here. It had a similar chunk broken out of it, so I've patched that up, and I've come up with a way to secure the tender body. I've got a couple of little brass clips that I've made either side of this the rear weight here, and the front has a couple of pegs that still fit in, and all I have to do is squeeze that in. Done. That's actually quite secure, and then if I want, it just pulls off again. Simple. So tender and motor all sorted. My chassis is all cleaned up and oiled, and I've cleaned all the wheels. I didn't video that. So I think it's time to test this. There we go. Right. Will this work? Look at that. So there we are. I think we're done. Just got to get the body on, and then we'll put this on the layout and see how it goes. I have ordered a replacement bulb for the light because I'd quite like to see that working, but not today. And there we are. That's this old Hornby Duchess of Sutherland, back to how it once was. Okay, let's go and stick it in the layout and see what happens. Okay, there she is. I wonder how long it is since this last ran properly. So let's turn the power on. And away it goes nice and smoothly. And there's a sight I've waited a long time to see, the Flying Scotsman with the teak coaches alongside the Duchess of Sutherland with the LMS maroon coaches. Alright, let's pull her out with the coaches. So there we are, there's my Duchess of Sutherland running really well actually. I'm quite surprised at how well that's running, so very pleased with that. I might do a wee bit work on it yet. I might touch up the paint on the pistons. The body seems a little bit too high at this end. Seems a very, very slight angle, so I might look into that. But apart from that, Very pleased with that, and I've waited a long time to have one of these. Right, okay, what's next? Catch us later, folks.